Joburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse is today meeting with Soweto residents. This is in response to their grievances over service delivery in the area. We do understand that she is there, and let's take you there live where she's going to be engaging those community members.
How much of it is benefiting the individual and collective needs of residents of Soweto in particular? Of this 77.3 billion rands, approximately 69.4 billion rands of it is operational expenditure. And of this amount, 23% is going into Region D. And that's one of 7 regions, and that is the Soweto region. That amounts to 15.9 billion rands for this region alone. Of the 7.7 billion rand capital budget, there are 46 projects to the value of close to 540 million rands during the 2022-23 financial year in Soweto alone. These projects include, but are not limited to, the Lufereng Social Housing Project, renewal of water main in Mapetla, an upgrade of the Protea Glen Clinic, the Naledi Clinic, a new multi-purpose center in Piri, the rollout of title deeds, and upgrades to bulk infrastructure, to name but a few. This last week, alongside MMC for Economic Development Councillor Nkuli Mbundu and MMC for Development Planning Councillor Belinda Echizonjoku, we met with business leaders who are keen and ready to invest in Soweto by establishing a hub for SMMEs. This is an acknowledgement, if you'll allow me to continue. This is an acknowledgement that first, we want the economy of Soweto to flourish for and by Sowetans. Second, it reinforces the fact that it is the private sector that creates jobs, not the government. It is our job to ensure that the necessary policies and infrastructure is in place. We are working with all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to not only repair and rebuild Soweto, but the whole of Johannesburg. Residents of Soweto, our government wants to make it easier and more affordable for you to travel. We want to fix your roads, and we're doing so steadily. MMC for Transport, Councillor Funzi Ngobeni, and the Johannesburg Roads Agency have been busy repairing and upgrading roads in Soweto. Every time I drive through Soweto, I see men and women from the entity at work. One of the projects which excites me is the Zola public transport facility. In terms of safety interventions, we as a city and the multi-party government care deeply about your safety. We care deeply about your security. That is why the MMC for Public Safety, Councillor David Tembe, was here on Thursday to deploy an additional 100 police officers to increase safety, visibility, and responsiveness. Since January, the JMPD has worked closely with the SAPs to bring lasting safety to the community of Soweto. To highlight a few successful interventions, since January, there have been 41 joint operations with the SAPs, 31 Buyamteto operations, 621 crime prevention interventions, 16 drunk driving operations. These various interventions, when you're ready for me to proceed, Thank you very much. These various interventions have resulted in close to 50,000 vehicles searched and 168 arrests for a variety of offences. I'm also aware of various safety initiatives that are community-led. I know that often the first respondents to scenes of criminal incidents are members of local structures. I am aware of the collaboration between the community, SAPS, and JMPD, which has resulted in the formation of a local security cluster, which has been effective in the fight against crime in Soweto. We welcome such joint efforts as it demonstrates a willingness for us to work together to create a safer Soweto. There is work being done every day to ensure that the residents of Soweto and the city as a whole live lives of dignity and receive necessary services from the municipality. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go to responses to your memoranda. Good people of Soweto, on the 21st of June, you marched to the council and delivered 22 memoranda. I want you to know that I, together with my office, analyzed each and every one of those. What was clear was that 90% of the issues that you delivered to me relate to escom. But before we address those escom-related issues, allow me to give the residents some feedback on service delivery issues which were raised by communities. Allow me to respond to specific issues related to the matters directed at the city, some of which I have outlined earlier. The memos from Protea South address the issue of the informal settlement. The plan there is to resettle the communities, and then the overflow will be relocated to the Lufereng project. Our teams in Region G are currently busy with that process. The community of Naledi also raised the issue of the 3 informal settlements, namely Naledi 1, 2, and 3. In this regard, Naledi 2 is already being removed, and Naledi 1 and 3 are being attended to. In Naledi 1, the Department of Human Settlements under MMC Mlungi Simabaso is currently implementing the URSP program, which is the upgrading of informal settlements program. To date, the Human Settlements Department has implemented reblocking or pegging of the stands. When we talk about reblocking, it means allocating stands to people and giving them services so that they can get dignified housing. In Naledi 3, there is a relocation program being planned. The informal settlement is located on PRASA-owned land. Aside from this, the land is located in environmentally sensitive areas, hence the relocation. Residents of Soweto, Pimville and Klipspruit, you raised the issue of chicken farm informal settlement. We've identified the issues relating to undocumented migrants, which must be managed within the legal framework of the country and the responsible departments and agencies. We've therefore engaged with the National Departments of Home Affairs, Social Development and the SAPS. The same will apply to the Maseru informal settlement. As a parallel process, we've engaged escom and Chicken Farm, which is also part of the URSP, in order to ensure that power can be supplied there. Equally, the Joburg Department of Human Settlements, working with other entities, are working on the supply of sanitation, water, and electricity. The Maseru informal settlement is not part of this program. An issue that came through in all the memos was financial assistance for the elderly and the financially disadvantaged. We understand that South Africans are grappling with a bleak economy and that the majority of the senior citizens struggle to remain independent of state grants. During the march, I listened to some of our gogos who could not access the city's expanded social package. Gogo, today, we've brought our officials to help you apply for the expanded social package, or ESP. And this effort will be sustained to ensure that there's continuous access to this service offering. I'm aware of the hardships that you're facing. Many people are unemployed, and many struggle to make ends meet. The City of Joburg, under the Indigent Program, called the Expanded Social Package, offers the elderly access to free basic services targeting senior citizens whose monthly income does not exceed 6,281 rands and 13 cents. These rebates include access to water, electricity rates, sewer, and refuse. The rates rebate is limited to homeowners whose property values do not exceed 2.5 million rands. This program is designed to help those who cannot afford rates to access free basic services from the city. In order to qualify for ESP, you must be a South African citizen, you must reside within the City of Johannesburg boundaries, and your household income should not exceed 6,281 rands on a monthly basis. This includes pensioners, investments, and other financial resources available. Officials from the ESP desk are here today, so please go to them and apply. We also have a team from the Revenue Shared Services Center that is here today, where you can pay, make payment arrangements, or dispute your municipal account. Bagaetso, if you can afford to pay, please pay your rates and levies to the city. These monies enable us to advance service delivery programs such as the ESP and other intervention programs. We cannot support ESP without your support. We cannot provide housing without your support. So when you work with us by contributing and paying for the services, we're able to ensure that we continue to render services and provide social and economic interventions that will have a long-lasting and positive impact on our city. Now let's speak about escom. Firstly, it's important for all of our residents to understand that the city has no jurisdiction over escom. The CEO of escom does not report to me. He reports to a board, and he reports directly to the Minister of Public Enterprises, Minister Pravin Gordhan. I cannot tell escom what to do, but what I can do and what I've been doing is to fight for you. We've been working with the escom and engaging with them for months. In fact, when we came into office, one of my very first issues that I had to contend with as a newly elected mayor was the issue of escom in Soweto. At the time, I had no staff and no MMCs, yet I immediately engaged escom on your behalf. Since December last year, we've been in constant dialogue with escom. In all of my conversations and meetings, I've engaged in good faith with escom, affording them the time and space required to address these issues. When you marched to the city, we subsequently invited escom to provide a response and to work with us in coming up with a sustainable solution to addressing the issues which have plagued Soweto for years. On 12 July, I wrote to the Ministers of Public Enterprise, Finance, and Mineral Resources and Energy, as well as to the escom CEO, requesting their intervention. In my letter, I asked the Minister and the CEO to consider writing off Soweto's debt and to reconsider a different debt repayment model. We have done this for many residents in the city. Since 2019, we have written off close to 44 million rands of debt in Region D, which includes Soweto. I understand that escom debt in Soweto is a major problem. However, you must ask ourselves whether this debt is recoverable. I tabled this question to escom, and I have yet to receive a response from the ministers. I also requested escom and the ministers to engage us on the following considerations: the introduction of alternative energy supply and consideration of an energy mix solution, fixing of ailing infrastructure and effective maintenance thereof, reinstatement of escom community liaison officers, a relook at the escom 60% threshold policy of reconnection, an electricity operational strategy in Soweto and other areas, developing an approach to address illegal connections, meter bypassing and tampering, unauthorized operations on the network, infrastructure vandalism and theft, the non-payment and non-purchasing of electricity tokens, as well as intervention on NERSA tariff hikes. Again, the Ministries of Public Enterprise and Finance acknowledged receipt of my correspondence. However, no response has been forthcoming. With all the attempts my office has been engaging in with escom, we are yet to receive a concrete plan that can be presented to Soweto. All this time, we've been doing our very best to mediate between escom and our residents. Indeed, we've built a good working relationship between the city and escom. Yet these engagements have not produced the change that is urgently needed and being demanded by our residents. Certainly, I can understand that my attempts to manage the city's relationship with escom and to afford it the time and space it needs have been misconstrued as an attempt to protect and shield escom from the residents. As much as you feel let down by escom, I must admit that I too am feeling let down. I would like to reassure you, the people of Soweto, of my and the multi-party government's support. You came to us for help, and I want you to know that we heard you loud and clear. We've listened to you, and we are here to say that if escom do not produce a concrete action plan with timelines, and if the minister does not respond to us in writing within the next 14 working days with a plan of action, I will personally lead a march with the residents to escom in efforts of getting an effective, timely solution. We will announce a date. I want my counterparts in national government to come down and help us and work with us. We're not looking to create an adversarial relationship, but I want escom to know that our people are in pain. Therefore, let us work together and help each other. Residents of Soweto, the multi-party government is at work in this community and in the entire city. This government is stronger and more stable than before. The strength of our multi-party government depends on us building strong communities across Johannesburg. We need Soweto and our residents to support us in our mission to rebuild and repair our beautiful city. I thank you. God bless you. And now, as already mentioned, I would like to invite our Gauteng escom representative, Ms. Daphne Mokoena, with the hope that we will get some responses on what escom is planning to do in this area. Ms. Mokoena, if you can please come forward.
Yeah, I'm under my own language. Viva Soweto, viva! Viva escom, viva! Commanders, good morning! Welcome to Medisa.
Viva escom, viva. Laughable. Laughable if it wasn't such a sad situation. Anyway, those were visuals of Mayor Mpho Phalatse in Soweto addressing residents there about their concerns, chiefly among them, and unsurprisingly so, escom.